Welcome to the Mind Your Health podcast, where we explore how to optimize gut health to live your best life. I'm your host, Dr. Connie, and today we're diving deep into the world of intuitive eating. We'll discuss how to break free from the dieting cycle, build a better relationship with food, and share practical tips you can implement immediately. So grab a notebook and pen and let's get started. What is intuitive eating? Well, intuitive eating is a philosophy that emphasizes tuning into your body's hunger and fullness cues, honoring your cravings, and respecting and accepting your body's natural size and shape. It's a way of eating that rejects the diet mentality and allows you to truly enjoy your food without the guilt, shame, or stress. So I want to discuss the 10 principles of intuitive eating and break that down for you, okay? Because it'll provide a framework for understanding and practicing this approach. So number one is to reject diet mentality. This first principle, rejecting the diet mentality, is letting go of the belief that there is a perfect diet out there that will solve all your problems. This mentality traps you in a cycle of yo-yo dieting and negative self-talk. And embracing intuitive eating means understanding that diets are not sustainable long-term. And these solutions can often lead to disordered eating patterns and an unhealthy relationship with food. Second is honoring your hunger signals. This means recognizing and responding to your body's natural hunger signals. Diets often teach us to ignore these signals, which can lead to overeating or binge eating later on. And by tuning into your body's needs and nourishing it when hungry, you'll maintain a better energy balance and prevent the extreme of deprivation and overindulgence cycle. Number three is making peace with food, which means giving yourself unconditional permission to eat any food without guilt or shame. When we label foods as good or bad, we often develop a cycle of restriction and binging. And by allowing yourself to enjoy all types of food, you can break this cycle and foster a healthier relationship with food, because overall, that's going to be what's going to serve you the best. Fourth is challenge the food police. The food police are those internal voices that judge your food choices and make you feel guilty for indulging in your favorite treats. Challenging the food police means recognizing and rejecting these negative thought patterns that you've got going on and understanding that food choices should not determine your self-worth. Intuitive eating encourages you to practice self-compassion and reject the idea of food moralization. Fifth is discover the satisfaction factor. What I mean by this is about learning to enjoy the eating experience wholeheartedly. By slowing down, savoring your food, and creating a pleasurable eating environment, you're more likely to feel satisfied with your meals. And this satisfaction can prevent overeating and help you to develop a more balanced relationship with your food. Next is to feel your fullness. It means paying attention to your body's signals that it's had enough to eat. Many struggle to recognize these signals due to years of dieting or emotional eating. And by practicing mindful eating and tuning into your body's fullness cues, you can learn to stop eating when you're comfortably full rather than eating past the point of satisfaction and regretting it. Next is to cope with your emotions without using food. Emotional eating is a common coping mechanism for dealing with stress, sadness, or other uncomfortable emotions. This principle encourages you to find healthier ways to cope with your feelings, like talking to a friend, journaling, or engaging in a hobby. I love to do yoga. This helps you to avoid using food as an emotional crutch and allows you to develop a healthier relationship with food. If you recognize these patterns, that's an awareness that's going to trigger the changes that you want. Next is to respect your body. Respecting your body means accepting its natural size and shape and understanding that all bodies are unique and worthy of love and incredible. Instead of striving for an unrealistic ideal, intuitive eating encourages you to appreciate your body for what it can do and treat it with kindness and care. Next is to move your body, you know me, with yoga. Connect with your body because intuitive eating encourages you to engage in physical activity for the joy of movement and its benefits to your overall well-being rather than as a means to control your weight. And by focusing on how movement with breath through yoga makes you feel rather than how it makes you look, you can develop a more sustainable and enjoyable relationship with physical activity. And not only that, enjoy it. Next is honor your health. It's all about gentle nutrition. The final principle, honoring your health, is about making food choices that nourish you and your body and support your overall well-being without falling into a rigid diet rules. And by focusing on gentle nutrition, you can choose foods that taste good and provide the nutrients your body needs to function at its best. And this approach encourages you to prioritize health and well-being over weight loss or dieting, and to appreciate the role of balance, variety, and moderation in your eating habits. Remember, the overall pattern of your eating choices matters, not one meal or a snack. Let's now go into some practical tips to implement intuitive eating. Now that we've discussed the principles of intuitive eating, let's explore some practical tips to implement this way of eating immediately. Tip number 1, start by keeping a food journal. Write down when you're hungry, what you're craving, and how you feel before and after that meal. This will help you to identify patterns in your eating habits and better understand your body's signals. Tip number 2 is to honor your hunger. When you feel hungry, I want you to eat. Don't ignore your hunger signals or try to suppress them just because you're on a diet. Listen to your body and give it the energy it needs. It's telling you something. Noticing the hunger signals will also make you aware of boredom that may trigger you to want to eat too, and nip that in the bud. Tip number 3, make peace with your cravings. Instead of labeling food as good or bad, allow yourself to enjoy all types of food without the guilt. Remember, no food is off limits in intuitive eating. Trust yourself. Tip number 4 is gratitude, my favorite. Before eating, take a moment to thank the hands that prepared the food or anything you're grateful for. This will help your body to be primed and receptive for optimal digestion and nourishment. Tip number 4, practice mindful eating. Slow down and savor your meals. Pay attention to your food flavors, texture, temperature, and smells. And listen to your body's cues for when you're full. Avoid multitasking also while you're eating. Tip number 5 is to be patient. Intuitive eating is a journey, not a quick fix. Building trust with your body, yourself, and developing a healthier relationship with food takes time and practice. And you know what? That's it for today's episode on intuitive eating. I hope you found this information helpful and are ready to start implementing these tips in your life. Intuitive eating is about embracing a more mindful and compassionate approach to food, not following strict rules or restrictions. It's all about self-awareness. I just want to thank you for joining me on Mind Your Health podcast today, and I look forward to our next podcast episode together. Until then, be kind to yourself and trust your body. And remember, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, as well as YouTube at Dr. Connie Chung, as well as to subscribe on this podcast at Mind Your Health. Thank you.